Yeah, you're absolutely right. Everything was muted because the last time I used OBS, I used it for 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 making videos of miniatures, and I always turn off the microphone and the music and stuff for that, since I don't want it in the background. But anyway, should be going now. Well, it is going now, I can see. So anyway, I will redo the, no, not the entire introduction, but the short version is that we'll be doing terrain. We'll be using this magnetized paint and some craft store acrylics. And I use craft store acrylics instead of mini acrylics because it's way cheaper, and you get, you know, one of these bottles costs less than one of the small mini painting. So yeah. And yeah, terrain is fun. It's great. And I got a kit with some XPS foam, and it came with instructions on how to build dungeons and caverns, and I hadn't actually thought about Leland when I read that. So anyway, the black paint we have here is the magnetized paint, and we're gonna try this out. Basically just gonna see what happens if I stick the magnets. So I have here on this is okay. So what you can see on my face cam, the weird thing underneath here, basically those are two magnets holding up a piece of paper upside down, which means that I am pretty confident that a single layer of this paint is actually going to be enough. Now, I will find out, you know, the final test will be once it's dried and I've applied more paint and stuff to it. But the fact that it can hold a piece of paper up, and it's fairly thick, I think it's 120 or 140 gram, I don't know, per square meter. So it's heavier than normal sort of office printer paper. Yeah. And yes, Leland would be proud of my pronunciation of caverns. I mean, is that actually, Bill, is that like one of your weird Canadian ways of saying things, or was it just whatever, something that happened during the during that particular game session? Now, we are, of course, here referring to the Incorrigible Party podcast, which is a very nice D&D podcast that has a lot of interesting adventure, amazing characters, awesome people, lots of fun, and I believe about 160 plus episodes by now. Okay, so it's just Leland pronouncing it like that. Well, he is a master of the language in his own way, isn't he? So, anyway, I mean, on the sides here where I'm painting, which you can't see down here, these are actually vertical sides, so it's not gonna be that necessary with the magnetic part, but I still want to give it the same color, so I can at least have the same base color all over, like when you're priming things, and whatever color you put on top is gonna take on a little bit of whatever your base color priming was. So I just want to get an even coat. We'll also be playing, by the way, with electricity in this episode here. I got what's called a static grass applicator, I think the term is, which is basically an electrified tube that looks like something we shouldn't mention on a family-friendly channel. But it's basically something where you create an electric field between the tube where we have the small flock. I have an example of what flocks are here. The grass you would put on terrain. It looks really good. I mean, if you look at the dude spinning around, you'll see some small tufts made from that grass, pre-bought. I didn't make them myself, but I know some people do. but basically that kind of flocking to make it stand upright. What you do is you take the applicator, add the flock into it, and then you just hold a small wire next to whatever board you're decorating, and then you shuffle out the flock, and it stands up on end. I've only seen videos of it. I've never tried it before, so that's going to be fun. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, the little tufts. That's so amazing. I have... Oh yeah, I think I posted a picture of the robot sniper I made a while back, Bill. That is basically just covered in tufts for camouflage. Between wine cones to break apart. Now, as much as I admire that, Bill, there's a cheaper way of getting it. You can just buy sort of pre-crumbled cork at way more than a wine cork costs, but still, it's cheaper than the wine. Oh, you like wine? Shit, I didn't know. I didn't know that was a thing. Can you actually like wine? I thought it was just sort of something you did sort of as a duty, you know, drinking wine. That's what I've always thought. Oh, wait, yes, nah, I'm just kidding. I'm really tired. I don't have a lot of good humor in me today. Sorry about that. Oh yes, wine makes you feel more sophisticated. I'm clearly not drinking enough wine because I'm not sophisticated enough. But you're absolutely right. Wine does make you feel that, as opposed to beer or other things. Alcohol. But, you know, speaking of being tired, I don't know if I actually mentioned this, Bill, but I got a new job. Or a job, since I didn't have a job before. Okay, super. I'm just gonna give a little bit of extra coat to this on some of the sides where I actually know that minis will be going, and that's to get as much of the iron filings onto the actual hill, hoping that it will make the magnet stick even more. But I mean, the first test was super good. Even, I mean, just the fact that it can hold the magnets. And thank you, Bill. But I gotta say, this whole thing about meeting at the office at 9 a.m. and being there until like 5 in the afternoon that's kind of rough after having done nothing for more than half a year. But hey, they're cool people. They're absolutely wonderful people. I haven't met all of them yet because some of them are in the States, and a couple are in Macedonia. I've had video conferencing with those, but I mean, all of them so far just seem super nice and friendly and open, and have the right attitude that you want in your coworkers. So yeah. Oh, and you've been working side jobs. Looks interesting. You're not doing other podcasts, are you? You're not sort of being promiscuous and playing with other DMs? Thank you, Bill. That's sweet of you to say. I do think that I fit in quite well. There's some of the technology they use that I've not worked as much with as both other people have, and that I've worked more with other kinds of technology. But overall, all things considered, I do feel like I bring 20 years of experience to the table, and that's got to count for something. So anyway, Hill is covered in all of this, and just to play around a little bit more, just gonna stick it here. So this is a fairly steep side, and I mean, you see it sticks. The reason I'm using the paper is that I don't want to get the magnets all covered in the paint. So, and Bill is not flaunting his voice around anywhere else. That is very good to hear, Bill. or maybe it isn't. I mean, of course, if you want to do other podcasts, you can do other podcasts, I'm sure. Or did Leland make you sign an exclusivity deal? What will you use to attach with magnets when it's finished? Oh yeah, that probably didn't make it through my being muted. But a lot of people playing war games take their minis, like the one spinning over there. And what they do is they place small magnets on the bottom of them, mostly for storage, because they can just put it on magnetic plates and they can just carry them around or put them in as shelves in a shelf system, or carrying cases or whatever. So it's I was thinking, if people do that anyway, adding a coat of magnetic paint, and I mean, I've used very little of this jar here, so it's cost efficient if it can carry the miniature, but it should be able to at least hold it a little bit in place. So giving that as a base seems like a good idea. So, and yeah, no, all that weird gibberish law thing, just ignore it. I mean, the legal paperwork, I mean, it doesn't really count anyway, does it? You know, if you have a falling out, I mean, Leland's just gonna kill your character, and that's gonna be that. So, and who cares? And this sticks to the brush. Well, it's an old brush. I don't use it often. It was the largest one I could find, which is really what you want to do for terrain. Just get it done. Yeah, just clean it up better. It also has the iron filings in it now. It's gonna be a mess. Now, oh yeah, the static grass applicator, and yes, I think you have an idea about what this roughly resembles. But basically, what you do is you add the flock in here, screw on the lid, turn it on, take this wire, and then there's a plate inside sort of the housing here, and the other side there's a battery in it. So this clamp here, you just apparently just place it near the surface and just shake out the static grass on top of it to see how, and then see how it goes. So I think instead of building some terrain, I really just want to try this out on that as part of a wall from polystyrene foam, which is not XPS, and it is terrible to cut. As you can see, the edges gets all scraggly, and it's a mess, really, which is why I got some of the XPS that I'll dig out in a moment. And what we'll do is we'll even use some of the special glue that came with the applicator, and the applicator came with, or I got the one that has sort of a variety of different flocking, because it's a really cheap way of getting some extra flocking, to be honest. These bags are gonna last me for, well, if I'm doing terrain, probably not long, but they are gonna last me for a while. And just to test things out, we're actually gonna go with the longest. We have a 6mm wild meadow. So let's do a wild meadow thing. Now, normally you would cover this in paint first to seal it and give it like a green backdrop, but I actually want to see how well it spreads, how well it covers, probably more correct. So I want the white base underneath and just slap on some paint here, or some glue. So this is watered down, or, well, not watered down glue, I don't think it is, but just water it down a little bit using the brush. And it's the special glue that came with the applicator from WW Scenics. That's terrible. It's easier to say in Danish. They claim that this part of what makes it special is that it's conducive, which is really what you want when you're doing the whole static electricity thing. Let's get a nice layer here. I mean, I guess you'd probably just get the same effect by watering down normal PVA glue because the water is conducive. Want to get super fancy, then maybe using salt water to water it down. But from what I've seen, people using these things just with normal PVA glue, it works really well. So that's that. Now for the exciting part. Adding some of that stuff into the applicator. Put it on. I have no idea how much to use, Bill. I have no idea what I'm doing. That's the fun part. This should be enough, and it's already going all over the place. And these fluffy materials, they're really short sort of hairs of synthetic fiber, and it will literally get all over the place in no time. So I have a vacuum cleaner handy for when we're done with all of this. So turn it on, put this down next to it, and I am not super impressed so far. Okay, actually I am a little, I'm somewhat impressed. Okay, so seeing as this is just a test, really, let's see how far, how it went. Yeah, I got some glue on the clip here. Nah, no big deal. So anyway, this is, I don't know, how can we display this? Yeah, let's bump off at least some of it. Now, I don't know if, is it possible to get the camera to focus properly on this? I think it is. So basically what you can see here is it is actually standing up. That is really cool. That just works exactly like it should. Now you can see a lot of white through it. That was kind of the experiment to see how much the flocking itself actually covers. This is super cool. A couple of really long strands, but it is actually giving me 6 millimeters, and it is literally giving me 6 millimeters of standing up grass. And yes, this is the power of science. I mean, ignore all this stuff about magic. I mean, science is where this, really, the shit really happens. And now I just have to find a way to get all of this. I mean, look at how much flock didn't make it onto onto the piece here. And we got a little bit of, would probably be a good idea to have a cleaner workspace when trying to salvage the leftovers here. I mean, right now I'm just experimenting, and oh, it's the crinkles it's the white stuff from the polystyrene. So that one is turned off, which is good. And then we can just bump out the rest. Now there is a lot still caught up inside this thing. We're just gonna get that out with some paper towel. They say not to use moist cloths or solvents or anything watery or liquid to clean this. So we're gonna follow the instructions and just do like that. Oh, we got so much more out of here. Maybe if and again, this is what I like about this hobby, is experimenting, trying out new stuff, just learning how to use the applicator, how to empty it, clean it, build some new work processes and methods, and just just basically just goofing around with it. Ooh, and terrain makes you more excited than the miniatures. Well, Bill, in that case, I have just the book for you. How to build dungeons and caverns. Ain't that something? You can build all of Aspara as a miniature landscape. The book actually comes with this box here, which is the booster pack. It's again the Army Painter, wonderful Danish company. They made some, the scenery. It's called Game Master series for some reason, probably because they think only Game Masters can do terrain. But it's basically aimed at role-playing people who want, or role players I guess they're called, who want to create their own scenery and dungeons and stuff like that. And this booster pack is essentially just a set of XPS sheets, so you can cut. And the main core set, or whatever you want to call it, includes, I think the large one includes this thing here. This is more science for you, Bill. A hot wire foam cutter, I think it's called. It's basically a couple of batteries and probably Constantine, I think it's called. But basically something, when I press in here, electricity runs through the small wire at the top, gets really, really hot, but doesn't burn over, and you can use it to cut foam board and stuff like that. To illustrate, I'll be sensible and remove the flock before I mess things up even more. Oh yeah, cool. The PDF is available. That's super. That's a good place to start. Otherwise, I can highly recommend the book called Terrain Essentials by Mel something or other. He's known as the Terrain Tutor. That's his YouTube channel, and he has a lot of cool ways of making terrain. Okay, so an Issue. Well, I think Issue started out as a Danish company as well, so it's not too bad. And a lot of people might actually put stuff on there. I cannot speak for some reason. I probably stream too little. No, but to show the wire cutter, is not that. The hot wire foam cutter. To be a little more visible, zoom in, flip the camera a little bit. This is fine. So basically, what you do is normally nothing happens, but just pressing down on this, and you'll be able to just cut through the foam like that. And since it melts it actually gives a clean cut. Now, I do not have steady enough hands to really make precision cuts, but you can use it to create like the edge of a cliff here, if that's what you want to do, or a small hill or whatever. And I find that the small sort of shaking of my hand actually helps making it a little bit more organic and random. Yeah, I mean, again, look at that. Look at that. The way the flocking stands up. This is super cool. That is well worth the price. I mean, there are many recipes for creating your own applicators of these things, the flock applicators. And they involve the insect zappers, box zappers you have that look like a tennis racket. Is it called a racket? Probably is. And you use whatever electronics is in there to create that thing, and you tear it apart, and people say it works, but it's not very well, and you don't really have like this stuff here, for having all the flocking in it. You don't really have that, so you would have to build that as well. And I find that with limited time, I'd much rather pay, I think it was 75 euros for this kit, including the flocking. So about 65, 70 euros. So yeah, for the applicator itself. But it really works. I'm not surprised. It's just so nice to see it actually happen. Now, next test is, again, just a quick test. I want to see how it goes if we take some, let's do some green. I have some green here that's pretty close to this. Then I don't have to mix the colors too much. See if they're still worth using. We're just gonna cheat, because cheating is key to most of this anyway. Make it look good. It doesn't have to be right, it just has to look good. We're just gonna spread some green on here. Let's do the entire surface and just see how the different colors look. This is why I also like the craft paints. I mean, when the paint costs literally about a few percent of what the miniature paint costs, I really don't care. I mean, I don't care with the other paint as well. I don't mind experimenting. It's just painting a lot and just slapping it on in a thick layer is just going to use some paint. And, right tool for the right job. Always go for that. Yeah. So what's up in your life, Bill? Anything fun happening? So this is gonna dry out, dry a little bit. So while we wait for that, let's actually create some terrain. And for that, gonna need more space. I need, Bill, buy me a big house. I need more space. I need to push everything around. Maybe I just need to be able to be less messy with my stuff. What's the fun in that? Nothing too fun this week. Hopefully you're going to visit my friend in your hometown next week. Oh, that sounds cool, Bill. And you'll visit Mom while you're there. Oh, that's so sweet of you. So, yeah. Let's get a piece of foam. Now, this here is not a production error. This cut that's already there this was just me literally saying, wonder if I can actually cut this with a normal hobby knife, and it's just free cutting in open air. So I didn't actually cut all the way through, but I was curious. I needed to see how it goes. And now, while this also have like the small bits and pieces sticking out of it when I cut it like this, the foam is far denser, so it doesn't fall apart as much. This is way easier to make things out of. It's also fairly thick, but I guess that's okay. Also some static electricity going on over here. So there's some fibers at the edge. They're just sticking out like, I don't know, those things a walrus, the beard a walrus has, or whatever. So yeah. I should have like a proper woodcutter's square for this, but I don't. So I'm just gonna wing it and play it by heart. Let's do some terrain. Let's say minis are roughly 30 millimeters high. So let's do the large one over there is about 6 centimeters, so 60 millimeters. So let's make a building that's a kind of wall-shaped thing that's 7 just do a quick wall thing. Oh, well, ruined wall would probably be the right term. And you've been... Oh, you found a local D&D group and played with them. That is absolutely awesome. So you actually get to play... I'm not going to say play D&D for real, because what you've been doing is real D&D. But playing it in real life is just a far different experience. You can talk... I mean, you don't need the same discipline for when you're talking on a microphone, on Zoom or Discord or whatever you've used in the past. But sitting at a table is just so much better. Okay, so see this here, when I cut it right. This gives a really nice clean cut. I mean, a few things here and there, and I didn't angle the knife exactly at 90 degrees. That's fine. That's just me being lazy. I had to cut this up a little bit. Well, that didn't go well. So, okay. So there are limits to how... See, this is the other kind of sprinkles you usually see on the other thing. This is because I'm trying to cut to smaller piece. Not a problem. We'll just... That'll go on the floor, and we'll never talk about that. Yeah, the worst thing about this, it sticks to everything. Actually, this is why we have a vacuum cleaner. I'm just gonna mute myself. So, there we go. Nice, clean place to work. Now, so the thing we want to do with this is we actually want to create like an angle. So we want to give it a clean cut down the center. Or maybe just offset it a little bit. And then we'll make sort of a craggled. Try to explain what I'm talking about. We'll make a cut roughly here, which you cannot see. Maybe this will help. It's a little darker, but there's no... Oh, corpse! So good to see you. So sad to hear that your back hurts. That is not good. But what I'm talking about here is, making like half the ruin here, and then over here we're gonna leave a little bit more room, and we're gonna make a slightly different pattern. So we have some, cracks to see some of the large minis. You can see the large minis over this ridge. Maybe, take a pop shot at their head. And yeah, basically. But we're gonna do all of that with just free-handed with the hot wire cutter. Just first cut this one here, because this one we want to be at least reasonably straight. There we go. So this is kind of the idea with what we're gonna do here. We're gonna plot this one in to get like a corner. So, and then just cut it out, and we'll see what happens. It's been a while since I've done this. Oh, you shouldn't have done kitchen duties at work. Breaking dishwater is so low on the floor, it hurts my back. Yeah, I seem to recall that you're not the shortest person in the world, so yeah. But anyway, let's cut some foam. Now I'm nowhere near where I drew, but this kind of as a relief, whatever the yeah. That's cool. Oh, dang. Yeah, that's not good. Now I'm gonna cut in so it's not looks like someone's cut it with a knife. I'm just gonna scrape off a little bit here and there so it has some different edges. That one sticks. So you can see, so you can get like a small incision here and there, and just crack it up a little bit so it doesn't look as sort of well made or clean cut as I did at first. So, and again, this is one of the super fun parts because I have no real method to this. I just basically just do it and just work along until I feel like I have a good shape for this. Now imagine you have like a concrete wall that's been shut up. Hey, Wookie! Nice to see you. What are you? Oh, 300 points away from braiding the beard. If you get there, and if you do, I'm gonna have to run off to find a hairband because I don't have that right now. But definitely. Oh, and you subscribe. Thank you, Corpse. 8 months. That's so sweet of you. Oh shit. Bill did flame the braid the beard. Well, as I said, I'm gonna need to go get a hairband. I will be right back. Thanks, thanks, Woogie. But I actually have a whole bunch of these, and I actually used to have them in my paint rack. But my cats love to play with the hairbands. Artemis will chase them from here to hell and back without blinking. It's super fun to watch, but also means I can't leave them out anywhere. They have to be in a closed cupboard someplace. So yeah. I know, Wookie, of course AJ don't braid Bill's back here. You know, a real man braids his own back here. I have not braided my beard in ages. This is not gonna go well. Hey, who cares? We're not here to make things go well. We are here to have fun. I used to be better at this. Okay, so do we go in or over or under? I think we go over. This is not going well, is it? I'm not looking at what I'm doing. That went wrong. Should have gone over here. And over there. And I have loose strands everywhere. That's fine. It's a beard. It's braided. There you go. Now, is that good enough for you, Bill, or should I redo it and hopefully get it a little better? Oh, thank you, Bill. Now, I just realized that this other piece I cut off can also be turned into like a little bit of rubble somewhere. So let's cut that down. I mean, this thing, it literally, it goes through foam like a hot knife through butter, more or less. I'm guessing that's because it's more or less is a hot knife through butter. And again, a lot of this, what I might actually do for stuff like this is cover it in filler. You know, the stuff you do, you use when you have holes in your wall you want to cover up. If you just use the filler on it, it'll automatically get like a rough texture, like the hill I painted before. Which, by the way, Wookie, I don't know if you saw that. This is super cool to use magnetic paint and actually see the magnets cling on to the hill. Oh, and Wookie wants to play Valheim now that he's seen my wonderful beard being braided. So anyway, the large piece here. Okay, so it also doesn't help that the wire isn't completely taut. So it drags behind just a bit. I don't know if you can see. I can see the wire. It's probably warm. We can see that the wire actually has a fair bit of movement to it. So it's not completely stretched out. I mean, I guess I could. No, I can't. I mean, I can push these ones in, but I can't really pull them out enough to make it tight. And I'm afraid I'm actually gonna break the wire if I do. So let's have none of that now. See, yeah, still works. Yeah, but it's super cool. It's basically this jar. It says so in Danish, called magnetmaling, which means magnetic paint. And I have from an old project. I didn't have any loose magnets. Well, I have some on my fridge, but I wanted some of the small neodyne ones. And this basically magnets, and there you go. This is now stuck to the side of a plastic bottle of paint. And it sits there, and I could literally shake the entire jug of paint, and it sticks. Let's place it right here, so it's just exactly covering the number. Okay, so it's sliding a little bit. It's a little bit when I did that. That's probably, oh, that's because it's rounded. But I mean, if I place it like that and actually keep an eye on where it's sitting, I can do this and it doesn't really move. And that's, through the jar itself. So I have high expectations of that other stuff. Anyway, on to, now that we have the basic shape for the other part of the wall, just cracking it up a little bit. You could do this with an X-Acto knife or something similar. I'm just gonna use the hot wire here, just to not give it as clean a look. I mean, this is supposed to be a wall that's crumbled with time or bombshells or whatever. So it should be a ruin. Getting there. So cut a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We do have some marks from the wire, kind of when it's skipping a little bit. So what we can do here is we can take some... I had a knife just before. There we go. Just take some sandpaper. Just gonna Okay, so I'm not gonna cut a small piece of sandpaper. I'm just gonna do that. Go. And just gently, even it out a little bit. This way I don't get all the lines from the wire jumping and dragging. Oh, and if you weren't here for the magnets, you probably also didn't see the static grass block thing I did. Got that coming up again a little bit. It's just waiting for some paint to dry. Here we go. Just it smooths it out just a little bit, which is kind of what we want. But basically, yeah, I'm good with that. So the idea here is to put this together. I'm gonna need to do something about that part. It's not gonna fit well. But fortunately, these the XPS foam here is super easy to work with. So just literally just place it on a piece of sandpaper and just even it out. It was a little at an angle before. Just trying to get that better so it will, yeah, that'll glue in nicely. I mean, the entire bottom is really off. I mean, if I was doing precision work, I should do that. Now I'm just gonna do some simple clean up here. That, I think that took the worst of it. So, here we go. Smooth out just a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is okay, so I'm not gonna glue the top on because I want to use the hot wire to, that's gonna be the word of the day, or words of the day, hot wire cutter. I want to use that because you can see the top corner here, that's gonna look really weird. So basically I'm just gonna glue in the bottom part of it and then cut it off so it works. That I'm not going to use. Well, I'm going to try to see if super glue actually eats or melts this away. It melts normal polystyrene. I'm guessing it also melts this. If it doesn't, it's going to be really, really nice because super glue is so much easier to work with. Doesn't seem like it is. Let's see if we can actually just glue this together. No, it melts. So that's the thing to be really careful about with working with polystyrene foam, is glue you use and the paint you use if you use rattle cans. A lot of rattle cans will, the propellant in the rattle can rather, will melt away at your polystyrene. I found that out back in high school when I had sat and, carved out a fairly decent looking bridge. Wanted to prime it, just normal white primer, nothing fancy, just so I had something to, a good base coat for painting. And what happened is the entire bridge went from looking, nice like this to just all of it just sacking down. It kind of looked awesome as a ruined, melted bridge, which I guess is exactly what it was, but it was not what I was going for. So instead, let's do this. Yeah. I mean, normally I would, again, as I said before, cover this with a filler or plaster, or cement, or whatever you want to call it, to give it a little bit more texture for painting. But since this is just an example and a test, we can just do this. I mean, the filler and the plaster could also be used to cover up the connections here and the connecting edges that don't align fully straight. But this just needs to sit for maybe, I don't know, just a while. So we got that done. So here we have Wookie, the static grass applicator. If you look at this, also getting green fingers, I can feel. This, you know, standing up thing is a huge improvement over just flopping down the grass normally. Oh, and Bill is gonna go make lunch and get ready to pick up his car from the shop. Thank you, Bill. Thanks for the lurk. Go have fun, eat some delicious lunch, and yeah, have a nice day. So, anyway, the flocking here. Shit, I make a mess. Flocking here, it's fun to work with, and I wanted to see how it actually works when you have green base covering it or underneath it. Now the thing about it is that I don't. Paint is not fully dried, but we don't care. We're just gonna wing it. All of this is just experimentation. I don't really care much about, you know, the fine details. Just want to go through all the processes, see how it works. Hopefully I don't get too much green into the pot of glue. Yeah, no, this is, well, I'm just gonna plop on enough glue here to make one test, but it really needs to sit. So. It's way too much of the green paint is coming on it, so that's no fun. So, well, we've been at it for an hour already. Wow. So, close the pot of glue. Always good thing. Now, I want to try. The other one was 6 millimeters. I'm gonna try some of the 4 millimeter, and so this is the applicator that I talked about, Wookie. You have a small wire here, and you have a metal plate at the bottom of this reservoir, canister, whatever they call it. And what you do then is there's a battery inside, so you have a what's called current differential, or the different, you know, basically you make an electric field, and due to the way static electricity works, the grass will hopefully stand up. So I'm gonna put some of this in. Now it clumps into fairly large sort of blobs of flock here, but it's fine. You have a bit in there, and you can just mess it up even more is probably better, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, who got the idea for applying this to miniatures? I have no idea where this started. Maybe in the railroad, some miniature railroad modeling, or model railroad hobby or whatever. But this is, I mean, this is a well-crafted tool. Just, you know, turn it on. Really nice switch for that. You should be able. Some people say that you should, put it, on a small nail in the socket. I did not try that before. It seemed to work without it, so I'm also not going to do it now. Basically, what you just do is you just plunk down a whole bunch of this. Oh, this looks good. Turn it off. Let's turn it off. Add a little bit more. I mean, the problem with adding or putting down the clamp here, the wire onto the surface, is that it will prevent the flock from actually going, on a bit of the surface there. So that's a thing to know, and that's a thing to learn. So let's put this away. Just bump off most of it, and what do you know? Looks super cool. Let's get a little bit more light on this, so we can see it from the side here. This is only 2mm, I think 4mm. So you can see it's not as tall as the bright stuff, but it is very clearly standing up. And with the green base color, it looks so much better and looks so much more real. And I know what people doing with this is they'll actually add several layers. So you'll have first one layer of one color and another layer with shorter hairs of bright or darker color, whatever you want to go for, and then slowly building up the gradient in the grass itself, which looks super cool. Let's try and save some of this. I have, oh yeah, water on the paper from before. So I probably won't get around to playing more with flock, so I'll not waste time emptying out the applicator. But whatever's left in there should definitely also go back. And I mean, these bags here, they're gonna last for a really long time. I cannot do like a full battle board, battle-sized. Excuse me, I placed the applicator in front of my face. There you go. Sorry about that. I won't be able to make a full battle board with just the small bags here, but they'll last me a long time for stuff like hills or what have you. Now let's see if this one is good enough to cut. Yeah, it is. It's glued on enough. So let's just drag this out. Just again make some extra cuts, making it look more crackled. And there you go. We went from a really unclean corner to something that looks really well. So I mean, that again, that's a simple way of doing this. The glue still needs to set, so we're going to put that aside. Painting that and dry brushing it is probably going to take somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes per cover, which means 15 or so minutes, and would have a fully painted piece once it's dried up. So that's not too bad time-wise. I'm thinking it might be fun to just make a quick hill. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make a hill. We have. Then we can also do some freehand cutting. And besides, I got two two boxes of this. It was on a really good sale, so I have plenty of the XPS foam, and I mean, better to use it than just leave it lying around. I have so many hobby supplies that I bought at some point, and then for fear of ruining it or not using it for a proper project or whatever, I just never got around to using it, and it's just sitting there. I mean, I have various. I have water stuff. We're gonna play with water stuff first because I also want to see how that works. Stillwater from the AK line of things. Hey, Emily, good to see you. We are playing with hot wires, electricity, static electricity, and now fake water. So, oh, and magnets. Seriously, why does my knife keep disappearing? First cut off top. Maybe I should read the instructions. Magnets, how do they work? They're so attractive. Okay, I should not look at chat while cutting off things with a very sharp blade, or as it turns out, not so sharp blade. Give me my cutters. There we go. Much better. Now, what does this say? It says crystalline self-leveling liquid for modeling. Don't shake the bottle. I learned that recently. So the bottle of oh, the liquid distilled, the distilled water thing here, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Because then you'll get air bubbles in it. So, what we need here though is to... we're gonna make a small puddle. Just gonna use this piece here. Now, with it being, you know, self-leveling, I don't want to pour it out on something where it just falls off the edges. Oh yeah, I saw the pictures of the river you made. It looked absolutely marvelous. So... oh wait, there's still water here. I mean, air bubbles, it should... some of it should rise, I guess, but... was this kind you used, or was it sort of like the full resin? Oh, we have Ori as well! Origami Girl. So many cool people here. Now, it says at most 3 millimeters at a time. So let's just stick to that. Yeah. Still overexposing it. But anyway, it's down there, and it says nothing on the bottle about how long it takes to dry out. So we're just gonna have fun, and we just show the results next week. Or whenever I stream again. Let's just put down a couple of blobs in this. I think I avoided the worst air bubbles. I get some air bubbles here, but that's from, you know, pouring it out, the sprout. So there we go. Okay, so this here, you can see there are some blobs. There's a huge bubble that just burst there, but the surface tension actually keeps it up. I'll see if I can show it. No, then it starts running. Never mind. We'll just leave it. I just want to see how it sets afterwards. So let's put that over there to also dry up. I'm just playing around with new stuff for making terrain Ori. Well, I'm doing like kind of a ruin wall section here for wargaming, just to see how the XPS foam is for cutting and decorating later on. So it's just to do something other than getting stuck painting minis or getting tired of painting minis or whatever. I've also been playing with a static flock applicator that you can use to add, make the flock stand up. Let's see here, so you can see from the side, it actually has a lot of height to it. Especially the bright stuff here, you can see how it's sticking straight up. A foam cutter one thing, I have this one, Emily. where you just have the, when you press down here, the wire at the end is cool. I don't have a, I don't have like a board where you can cut at the right angles and stuff like that. I should get one. But what I also have is this one here, which is very much a magic wand. Create, static electricity, electric field, and that's what makes the flock or the grass stand up, because it's synthetic material. So just, yeah. So a board, but not a handheld one. John wants one. He should get one. I actually find at first this one looks really weird, but it actually looks, it sits nice in the hand, because you can just hold it like this and just actually use it as an extension of your hand. But I should really get a board with a fixed wire so I can cut, even angles if you ever want to do dungeon tiles or stuff like that. My knife skills are not good enough to cut at straight lines and right angles. So, by the way, this one came with the XPS box, and it's the Game Master series of terrain tools and stuff made by the Army Painter, and it has a lot of suggestions for how to create stuff and how to create water. They have something here, how to paint it. Yeah, and of how you can add texture to the XPS foam by just putting a rock in it. I know some people also just use crumbled up tin foil, and just a lot of different things. Now they do in the sort of base set for this, they do have a rattle can where the propellant will not melt your foam. That would be really, really cool to have. But on the other hand, I have an airbrush. It's going to be fine. So here we have a little bit about, dry brushing, all of it, and you have the finished result there. It's super cool. And you get to make dungeons and caverns. I already teased Bill with that when he was here, Emily. So, anyway, where were we? Hills. I'm not gonna be painting the hills because the glue needs to set, obviously, but I'm still gonna show you exactly how easy it is to create a hill in like no time. And since I want it dynamic, I'm basically just gonna cut it. I'm just gonna make the base, gonna make an oblong hill, I think. Don't I? Do I want to do that? Yeah, I think I want to do that. So I'm basically just gonna make layers up, like kind of small, sort of like a Mayan pyramid or whatever. I would have liked some foam that is not like a centimeter thick. I would have liked some that would be 2 or 3 centimeters, because that's kind of the height I want on each level of the hill. But hey, this is still gonna do, because it's still gonna give some cover. And again, we're just basically just gonna go for it. Yeah, let's make a nice big hill. And also let's save myself some worries. Get that out of the way, and we just... Again, I'm making this fairly large because I want to make several layers with the other, more foam on top. And I need a small sort of plateau, so each level is gonna be moving in and making, giving a small surface area. And I don't want to just have like half a mini standing on top. So yeah, just going for a small plateau here. There we go. So that would be the base, nicely angled. Gonna give it a little bit more angle over here. Actually, I'm gonna give it less angle over here and gonna make that into sort of like a rock outcropping or whatever. I mean, you can also just glue rocks to the foam at different places. There's so many different techniques for that. So that's the first one. What do we have? We have For some bizarre reason, we have 7 pieces of foam in the box. Now this one, I'm actually gonna just make a brief outline where I want this to go. Okay, that's simple. I mean, I just want to basically use half the board and cut off something, and then we'll be good. So let's do half a board. Half a board, third of a board, third of a board. There should also be room for minis next to the sort of the next layer on the hill. So okay, this knife is no longer sharp. That's probably why I cracked a little bit in the beginning, but it's fine because we're gonna be coming out anyway. So basically this one here gonna go on top. Yeah, that'll work. We need to cut off some of it. That's good. Let's just do that. And we have a small piece for the very top. That looks odd, but hey, again, adding like filler or plaster or something like that, give a really nice texture, also make it better when you're painting it. So yeah. Again, this is what I like about doing terrain is you get the large scale stuff done really fast. You cover so much ground so quickly. Oh, I know, we're gonna make like a double hill. So actually what we are gonna do is we're gonna see how steady my hands are, because we're just gonna cut this down. See how that goes. It's not completely sort of level, not level with the other, but sort of in line with the other. You know what I mean. So it's just, instead of gluing it and then cutting it, now at least we have something that will fit a lot better. So we can have like a tall, shit, you can't see that, sorry. So now this one is one side going up, and here over here we have small plateaus. You can't actually fit a mini in here. When designing terrain for war games, you basically want to be able to put minis everywhere, and therefore you're gonna make room for it. And when placing minis, you choose the size of the mini you want to be able to go there. So here I'm probably gonna aim, or I'm gonna aim at something that will hold like a 25 millimeter base. So the large minis will not be able to stand on that side. They'll have to find a different way to get up the hill. You can do a lot for the game by doing that. And I should have, now it's easy to see how it fits. I said and didn't make it fit. What I should have done before was actually just make a couple of lines to make sure that it fits better. It should fit. There we go. There we go. And it's here. Just need to take a little bit of that off. So that's that. And then I figure if we use another piece to take, I would just do a plateau, and then we can do this up here, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I want to do something, but I can't figure out what. Let's just make a small piece over there. Roughly. Roughly like so. Yeah, we'll fix that in post-production. So now we have, one side of the hill, 3 layers. The top layer is going to be tall enough to cover most miniatures, but still going to give, a little bit of what's it called? A bit of, cover for some of the minis and stuff like that. I mean, again, I'm going to get some 20 or 30 millimeter XPS boards at some point for really doing hills. I just wanted to show the technique and how simple you can make something like this that is gonna look fairly okay in a war game. You can place minis on it. I pull this one out just a little bit here, so you can't have minis on the outside, but you can have on the inside and stuff like that. Just rotate it, gonna glue it all up, and move on to the next stuff. And this just, you get so much done compared to sitting around for 2 hours and just doing nothing but highlights on a small piece of a mini. So glue. I should also mention, of course, that as always the music we're listening to is the very talented Adrian von Ziegler, a composer who makes a lot of beautiful atmospheric, mostly instrumental, I think all of it is instrumental music that you can use royalty free for streams like this or for non-commercial projects. I know for commercial projects like movies or whatever, podcasts would fall into that. You will have to get in touch with him, but for live streaming, he specifically states that you can use his music. I think that's super cool. It's gonna be there's a link in the description somewhere. Otherwise, go look him up on YouTube. I think he's on Bandcamp or SoundCloud. I cannot remember if he's on SoundCloud and Chilean is on Bandcamp, but Chilean is the guy who did the intro music and the music I use for the small presentation videos I make of my minis. Yeah. Chilean is a good friend of mine from Sweden. He's a music producer, music creator as well. It's always fun to, talk to people who've been in different creative industries. So there we go. I mean, one reason for leaving this entire side over here free is to maybe have like space for a regiment, full regiment of troops somewhere or what have you. So now that is set. And again, this is PVA glue, holds it in place. And I'm running out of places to put down large pieces of whatever that needs to dry. But I can bring back this one. This is a hill we started on today. It's not the hill we're gonna die on because dying is boring. But remember when I said magnets? This here, again, just two, 5 millimeters, 5 millimeter neodyne magnets. And they can sit out there at the edge. The reason they're in this plastic thing is that I couldn't find any free magnets, but this here I mean, I can feel it. Maybe you can hear it snap into place. No, you can't. The noise filtering is probably eating it. But basically, trust me, it sticks. I don't think you'd be able to do this with a miniature because of the weight distribution and all that. But at least it might be able to help the miniatures stand on the side. And when it's miniatures, it's again, some people like to glue magnets underneath the miniatures for storage. So I'd say this is a successful result. It still needs 12 hours to dry, so that's going to be a project for tomorrow or whatever, to actually paint this over with some green and some. Now I've got used the filler here to create a lot of texture that's going to be great for making rock formations and dry brushing it up and making it look really cool. And then green stuff, or green paint wherever I actually want the grass to go, and then I'm gonna make a fully covered hill with static grass and all the fun stuff like that. So that's that. It just needs to sit for 12 hours. The paint I have, the magnetic paint, is actually paint with iron filings in it. It's one thing I ordered this week, but it looks like my order has got lost. It's just regular iron filings, which cost nothing compared to that, this paint here. And then my plan would be to try and mix it up with some normal acrylic paints, just in small batches, and then you can actually have the so you don't have to prime it with this special paint, but can just use whatever acrylics of different coloring or whatever you need as your base color, or for the terrain, and just still have it magnetized. The difference being here, this one here, which is 380 milliliters, costs 230 kronos, I think it was. If I bought like a kilo of iron filings, which is probably more than what you can fit in. Nah, you probably can't because of the weight of iron and stuff like that. Basically, a lot of iron filings that I think is about the equivalent to this cost less than half. And the acrylic paints, when you're using the craft store paints, it's way less than the cost of the iron filings. So it should be possible to create a far better product. Or another thing I'm gonna try, if I ever get the iron filings, is just applying them, add glue or mix them up with glue and some watered down glue, and just adding the water filings, iron filings, and then using that to sort of seal the terrain, and then paint on top of it, so you don't actually have the color, you don't put it into the paint. So yeah, that's the next thing to try. So many fun things. This is nowhere near dry, so yeah, I don't really know what else we're doing. I mean, I can do another one of these sort of small wall sections. They're always, I mean, I like having them for terrain simply because they're so easy to use. You just put them down and you have some cover. And yeah, let's do that. Did that one? I did that one 70 millimeters. And to give an example, if I can do this without knocking over everything, kind of see that this will easily cover that model in the corner, but he'll still be sort of visible behind the low one here. I'm actually gonna make some smaller pieces. Simply because that one is fairly long, and you still want to be able to go out through the walls. So I'm gonna make it shorter so it gives sort of half cover to the larger minis, still covering all the small ones sort of fully in the corner. We're just gonna mark off, just cut off a strip here, and that's what I did before. Cut off a strip and cut off some pieces and just make it look good. Now, the question about of when I'll actually get around to adding filler and all that stuff in this is I have no clue. Hopefully soon. Yeah, that one's... I think I should get a new hobby knife. I mean, the knife itself is good enough, but the tool we have here at the back for taking off the blade is broken. So I kind of have to do it like this. So please cover your eyes. Yeah, this doesn't go well, and that's some things flying all over the place. So I'm just gonna take care of my eyes now. So you can get a slightly cleaner cut here. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be 4 centimeters tall and 1 centimeter wide, which is going to be a fairly sort of thick wall. Who cares? Yeah, I need a new knife. Actually, I think I'm going to just make it 3. I know what we're doing. We're going to try to make something just a little bit more fun than just your average angle sort of corner. So that piece will go here. Then this piece will go there, and that piece will go there. Yeah. See, this is... I really like planning out projects normally, but I also like just doing whatever comes into my head at any given time. It's so rewarding, and you don't have to spend like a lot of time planning and drawing, and just go with whatever feels right. What we're going to do here, again, we're going to make the walls sort of into ruins, but we're basically going to make it like so, and then make the middle one low enough that you can run over it, but you're still going to get some cover in these areas from different sides. So that's the plan. That is the battle plan. And we're also going to throw it all over the place. So we're just going to need like a centimeter wide there where I don't cut. So it's up 20 minutes, so we're just going to go for a... That is a strangely blown up wall. Let's do a little bit like that. I kind of think when you see crumbled concrete walls, they kind of have, you know, the middle being the tallest part, I think, because everything is going to run, you know, fall down to the sides. So just carving out bits and pieces here. So yeah, so that's part of that. That one there. So I'm gonna have the lowest in the middle. Let's just go. Make it wide enough for a miniature to actually get out. Something like this. Yeah, that's gonna work nice. And just make the small sort of extra cuts here and there to make it look more sort of destroyed, ruined, blown up, what have you. It adds that little bit of sort of randomness to it that you just, at least I can't plan my way out of it. But I still want it to be sort of fully connected at the bottom, because I don't want it to be like 2 different pieces of terrain. I want this to be one single piece. Let's cut this down like so, and yeah, something like that. Then we have the last bit here. It's gonna mark out roughly where I want this. So basically I'm gonna mark out where I shouldn't cut into it. Done a little bit into the other one, but hey, who cares? And yes, Emily, I do need a new knife. I absolutely do. The blades are fine. It's just the thing I use to cut off or snap off the blades have broken, so it doesn't. It no longer. I can no longer use it for that. And it's really annoying. But I don't think you can get it like as a replacement part. So. Ooh, new technique. Instead of carving it straight, just carving it angled from the beginning. That's not bad. I mean, the really fun thing about the wire cutter is you can rotate it while you cut. And yes, new knife definitely cheaper than a new eye. You're absolutely right about that. And yeah. So basically this is kind of the idea for this small piece of wall. Have it there. I mean, it's gonna be like this if I don't break it, and then you can just plop it down wherever to give a little bit of extra. In many ways, it's kind of like a small fence or gate type of thing, sort of a portal, if you will, between different places in the battlefield. Yeah, let's glue that up, and we're doing it. It's again, it's so rewarding doing terrain because you get so much stuff done in such a short time. There we go, and once I actually get to the painting part, I also find that it's way more forgiving to create terrain than doing minis. Because on the minis, all the small details, small accidents, mistakes I make when painting, they're gonna be so visible on miniatures, but on terrain, it usually doesn't matter much. So that one there, this one here, and that one I actually want. I'm just feeling with my right finger here. I'm just feeling if the edge is fairly straight and level. So the what's it called, the connection between the two is not fully off, so I have a good foundation for either painting it directly or just you know what I mean, adding the filler stuff. One more thing we should try before I go is to just cut this down. This is again just a test to see what happens. And if you will excuse me, I just need to get something from downstairs that I forgot about before. I will be back in 30 seconds. Okay, so back. I got one of these roller kind of things. I have no idea how to use it. As always, we're just gonna have fun and try. This is supposed to make bricks, so I could have used that. Would have been a really good idea to use that for the walls I just made. But it's some kind of hard plastic or resin or whatever that has these small patterns to it. So you can roll it over something and it should give you the texture of small bricks. I have no idea how hard to press, but let's just try. Okay, I have to press fairly hard to really get it. But don't know if that's visible. Maybe if I angle it. Yeah, if I angle it, at least you can see. And this is where it's going to be really cool when painting it. This, when painted, is going to look so great. I also really need to figure out how hard to press down on it so I can do it in like one go. There we go, that's so much better. It's also a very small piece, so that doesn't make it any easier. If I took a long strip, you can see that this is how you make a wall really simple. Yeah, that looks cool. Let's try and do the other side. Just pressing down. I'm just gonna maybe just stand up so you can use my weight for this. And just really press down on it. I have no idea what I'm doing. Nah, I mean, you only really get the one go at it. And pressing from the other side actually messed up the foam board at the end. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Emily. Is it serious? I hope it's nothing too serious, and I hope she gets well really soon. So what we can do this. Okay, so a fever and sleeping a lot. You know, of course, I'm hoping it is nothing too serious. It may be a cold or flu or whatever, but yeah, Cass being a nurse, she'll definitely see all the things it could be, and that is always scary. So I hope they're gonna be fine. Hope they're gonna be okay. So just gonna quickly apply. This is not how you should do your terrain. I mean, I'm just plopping down the paint straight onto the thing here instead of putting it out on a small palette or whatever, but that's mostly because my palette is packed away somewhere and I'm too lazy to go find it. We're just gonna do this. Just want to really quickly see if we can get this up and running. I don't know if it's gonna dry quickly enough to be able to give it a few layers and then paint or dry brush it. And yes, the roller is indeed a Green Stuff World. It says up here, so it's the small bricks. I would have liked a large bricks because I have an idea that diorama I started building last time. I got so frustrated with the way the walls are that I want to redo them in XPS, and I think it's actually going to be so much quicker to redo it. Yeah. Well, I got this in a store, so it's not directly from Green Stuff World. It was just from Far Out Cigar, which is a local game. Basically anything game related, role-playing games, trading card games like Magic the Gathering, blah blah blah. You name it, they got it. So I mean, the thing about painting straight onto the foam here is that it does not absorb any of the paint, so just kind of gonna have to wait for it to air dry. So it takes forever. But yeah, I mean, shipping would be cheaper, I guess, since I believe Green Stuff World is in Spain. So it's inside the EU, so it's gonna be so easier to fix. But imagine that they export it to the States as well, so you wouldn't have to buy it straight from Green Stuff World themselves, but can buy it from retailers elsewhere. So check your local hobby store. And yeah, this is not gonna drive fast enough for me to get anywhere. But hey, it is so cool to see that it works. So basically what I'm gonna do when I'm gonna remake the walls is just make a very long strip, longer than I need. We get it over there somewhere. We haven't seen the things John wants over there anywhere. That's a lot of wares. Are you a were creature? So, but basically, oh, so this is how they work. It looks like it looks like they've taken this really hard plastic cylinder and then they've engraved the rocks into it. I kind of see it and feel it when I'm looking at the surface. It's a very fascinating tool. I have no idea how to do it on both sides though, because you're gonna be pressing down on both sides at the same on one side, and then when you press down again on the other side, you're gonna flatten out all the rocks. That seems like it's gonna be a bad idea. But I guess one thing you could do is take some milliput or other modeling clay and then make really small or thin layers of that and then put that on outside of your walls. It's gonna make the walls a little thicker, but then you can make like really detailed what's it called, patterns into it. And you probably also get a lot of the milliput or whatever clay you use stuck in all these small textures on the rolls here. So yeah, that's also gonna be a problem. But anyway, it's a thing to do, it's a thing to try. So yeah, it's still not dry. So I mean, if I flip it, you can see that there are some blobs of wet paint there, and I really don't want to paint over it because then it just drags out. Or you know what, I am. Fuck it. This is just a test anyway. I want to see how it goes. Just a bit more. Yeah, the second coat is so much easier because the first coat so many brush strokes from sort of dragging the paint over the fairly smooth surface of the foam, whereas here at least now has some paint, some paint to cling on to, so you can get a slightly better layer. It's still sliding a little bit, so yeah, and then I try to go back and correct it, and you should never ever do that because it just makes it worse. You just peel off the paint or scrape off the paint or whatever. That's fine. Nah, that is gonna be as good as it gets. Just gonna clean up the brush. I mean, these large brushes, I find that they're not as easy to just clean in, you know, the normal jar and a piece of paper towels. I'm just gonna bring them down to the sink, give them a good rinse. But hey, we got stuff done today. Let's just bring out some of the stuff we made. This was again the small tests. We have those two small bits and pieces. We played around with the flock. The applicator works really well. So yeah, getting stuff done is super cool, and it's actually really fun to sort of touch grass standing up. I'm pretty sure I could smooth it out and flatten it down, but this is where people then use sealant for, you know, just soaking the terrain in a mix of water and PVA glue. Some use water and Mod Podge. I have some Mod Podge somewhere, maybe, and that is actually something, a technique that really frightens me, because the people I've seen do it, they literally, it is soaked. I mean, there'll be puddles of this stuff all over the place. So you'll have a lot of water, a lot of PVA glue or the Mod Podge, and then when the water evaporates, I mean, it doesn't destroy the grass and doesn't make it go flat or anything like that. I've seen people do it, so I know it works. It's just soaking painted terrain in anything watery. It just frightens me because I'm so scared of the color running and everything mixing together and blending and breaking and all your hard work being wasted. But so many people do it that I'm gonna try it at some point. Maybe with a piece like this to begin with, and just to see how it goes and how it dries up. But yeah, anyway, we go. Oh, hey, hang on. We also have more stuffs. We have so much stuffs. We also did the hill. So let's put all of this up here. The hill as well. So yeah, so there you go. I mean this is not enough. Nah, it's not enough terrain to actually have any kind of fun playing. But I'm gonna find some minions. Just gonna bring out a couple of robots so you can see how it looks when they are there. Yeah, you can't see because it's top down, I know. But setting that to the side, just gently flipping it. And see, this is where the magnetized minis would be cool because they would not fall off like those ones are gonna do any minute now. And just the other side. Okay. Let's get the camera into a different position. This is going to be shaky. Apologies for that. So, here we go. Now, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Plus, it was going to fall off eventually. But yeah, so here you can see this guy standing up there. He can barely see this other dude down there, and that's yeah, it's getting there. I mean, now we have it. Now I just need to get around to actually painting it. Still gonna be fun. See this guy here, and again, this with the size of it, I mean, he's gonna be very nicely hidden behind that wall, whereas the big dude over here, okay, he's also gonna be hidden. Maybe I should take it down a notch. He's not as tall as I thought, but still, you could make an argument that you can actually shoot at the big guy, but not at the small guys. So yeah, that's I think that's where we're gonna leave it for today. As always, it has been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Good to see you again. Corpse, Ori, Emily, Bill, Wookie. I think those were the ones who showed up today. Thank you for spending some time with me, having the patience to watch me do random shit and experiment. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for the subscription. Corpse, you know you don't have to, but I appreciate when you do. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, whatever time zone you're in. And until next time, have fun and keep getting stuff done.